Hi everybody, my name's Jane Gillings and this is activity 7 for creative reuse for preschoolers. This activity I've called Garbage Gang Game, so it's a game that you can play with probably as many kids as you like really. It sort of just depends on how many items you collect to create the game. I've used materials that, well, I'll show you basically. What you'll need for this activity are these sorts of things. Not necessarily exactly like this, but I've just gone around my studio, which is full of this stuff, and collected objects. Oh, we won't have the gun. I don't think we want the gun. Objects that look a little bit like facial features, because this game is based on creating a face from pieces of stuff. Most of this is plastic, but you could use anything really. You could use toys, you could use bits of things that you have lying around the centre that you work in. All it is really is your imagination and in choosing the elements that make up this game. So for each child who's playing the game, you're going to need 6 items. We're going to be using a dice. It's a dice game. And at the moment, the dice that we're going to be using is just a block. I don't mind what you use. You can use a real dice if you want, or you can create one. It's kind of more fun making one because you can make it very specific. So, and you need a piece of paper. So this is just an A4 piece of paper. You don't need it, but it's kind of useful because it keeps everything sort of in one spot. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to make up the die. And because it's based on facial features, I'm going to draw on the block, I'm going to draw facial features. So we need eyes, we need 2 eyes, we need a nose, we need a mouth. And you could put ears if you want, but I'm going to put eyebrows because eyebrows will give the face expression. And it means that when the kids are putting together their face, they can create expressions and they can see how eyebrows create expression on a face. Like you can get angry and happy and sad and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to start by drawing an eye on here. I'm drawing in the air, so excuse my rather average eye. There's my eye. I'm going to do another eye on the other side, or wherever you like. It's all pretty random. Just make sure it's fairly recognizable for the kids. There's another eye. And here's a nose. Draw a nose like this. There's a nose and a mouth. Make it a little bit smiley. Mouth. And then eyebrows are pretty simple, just sort of something like that. And there's another eyebrow. So we've got our facial features. Probably could have done that a little more randomly because the 2 eyebrows are together, but I don't think it really matters. And then what we're going to do is play the game. So there are my bits. And here's another box like that for rolling the dice in, or the die. And you might want to use this so you don't end up chasing the die around the floor. So I'm just going to roll my die into the box, and I've got an eyebrow. So I'm going to pick something out of this box here that looks a little bit like an eyebrow, and I think that looks a bit like an eyebrow. So I'm going to put that on my paper. And then it's somebody else's turn, and then it's my turn again. And now I've got a mouth. I just rolled a mouth. I'm going to use this butterfly shape for a mouth, and that's going to go down there on my piece of paper. I might turn it around so you can see it the right way up. So there's my mouth. Here's my eyebrow rolling away. Now I'm going to roll again, and I've got an eye. I really did get an eye. Look, there it is. So I'm just going to use something like that. Very obvious eye. Actually, I'll put it under the eyebrow. And then I'm going to roll again, and I've got another eyebrow. Oh, I'm lucky. I don't have to cheat. It's just working for me. And I've got another eye. So I'm going to use this for another eye. And then you can see what's going to happen next is when I roll a nose, which I'm about to do. There it is. Look at that. I rolled a nose, and I'm going to choose that for my nose. And I'm the winner because I've finished my face. So I don't know if you like winners or losers. It doesn't really matter, I guess. It's just a fun game. but it uses all these items, and it sort of allows for creative interpretation of what could be an eye, what can be a nose, what can be a mouth. It allows you to talk about the features of the face, and afterwards what you can do as well, once you've all created your faces, you can then play around with, and this is something that I do when I teach art, is just talk about expression, particularly with kids, and how you can manipulate these objects on the page and get a very different expression. So things like, just by playing around with the eyebrows, you can get really interesting effects. Even if I turn this butterfly upside down, all of a sudden it changes how the face looks. We can make it a bit sad, a sad face. We can make it a surprised face. We can make it an angry face. It doesn't really take much manipulation of these objects to turn this face into something else. The other thing you can do is, once everyone's finished their faces, you can then get a pencil or a texture or whatever, and you can create an outline for the face. You could even do some hair. You can sort of make it more than it is. You could even trace around the individual objects. I haven't traced very nicely there, but you could do some tracing. And another thing that's really fun to do with this is, if you have a backlight, you can get the kids to sit in front of the paper and create a shadow using their own heads to sort of fill out the space as well. I probably should have got I probably do have a light. I do have a giant light. So I'm going to turn on this giant light behind my head. I think it's going to work, maybe. Oh, maybe not. No, it's not. Oh, you can see my shadow there, at least of my hand. I think I have to be right over the top of it for my head to work. But if that were my head, you can see how that can create, I'll just turn that up that way, that can create the head shape. If I line this up nicely, which it's not really working, but you get the picture. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of scope for other things. This is actually based on a game that I used to play as a kid, which I can't remember the name of, but it was all about bugs, and we had little legs, and you had to build the bug with all the little components, and it was a race to get the first bug made. And it was a dice game, and you rolled the dice, and if you got a 6, you got a pair of wings, or you got an extra leg or something. So you could do, that's a bit scary, but there's the final product. You could do bodies, for instance. You could find objects that look like body parts. You could do things like bugs or animals. There's all sorts of scope, if you just think beyond just the face. I think you'll enjoy it. I think I might go and play it with a friend because it's so much fun. Thanks for watching.